Welcome back to Bespoke Addict. I've got something absolutely remarkable, extremely rare, for sale on eBay UK. Just totally sensational. Full bespoke, made in the 1920s. When I say 1920s, they're definitely before 1935. So we'll say 1925 to 1935. Made by Poulsen Skone, and just utterly sensational. If I can just get the light right, there's Poulsen Skone's stamp. It's part of it. The other shoe's got it. The original sort of nailing pattern. These things are so delicate and so refined, just extraordinary, quite frankly, that the shoe trees are not original. They're not with the shoes. These are Poulsen Co. I don't have the Poulsen Skone trees, I'm afraid, but nonetheless, these are just, look at the, you know, I have spent quite a lot of time in these, I'm sure you can tell, just from the polish. But just exquisite. They're quite small, and they're round about a UK 7, possibly a 7.5. That would be a US 8, 8.5. And just, I don't know, it's difficult to know what to say about something this beautiful and just so refined, so delicate. The welting. On first glance, these look like simple cemented soles. They're not. These are welted, hand lasted, hand welted, hand stitched, and the concealed channel. It's the tiniest, most delicate welt you'll ever see on any pair of shoes by any maker. I've got several examples by every bespoke maker, UK maker, and there's nothing at all that comes even close to how tiny and delicate and refined, and the autofocus is struggling there. So, but it's unreal, quite frankly. They do look cemented, but they're not. You know, there's a sole and a welt squeezed into that tiny area with the tiniest stitches. There we go. The camera's really struggling because it's autofocus. But let me just turn this over and see if we can see the channel. Yes, we can. Ooh, there we go. There's the edge of the channel, look. And if I were to peel that back, we'd see the stitches. Of course, I'm not going to. But let me give you a sense of quite how delicate and refined these are. These are a pair of 1960s George Cleverley, and they're very delicate, extremely delicate, as you'd imagine, from this maker. Look at the difference when we compare the two together. The George Cleverley, even though these are extremely delicate, are pretty much twice the depth of the Poulsen and Skone. It's remarkable, and that's delicate. The only thing I've found, I've got some bespoke George Cleverley. These are hand lasted and welted. These are Albert velvet slippers made in 1997, and even those are slightly more robust. The delicate nature of these, it just can't be stressed enough. Even the Albert slippers, which are just incredibly refined and delicate, so elegant. The Poulsen and Skone shoes are even more so. The only thing I've found, and that is as fine, are these 1920s opera pumps by, I'm going to have to remind myself. I do now, I just can never remember. Faulkner and Son, who incidentally were bought by Henry Maxwell. I've done nothing with these so far. They do fit me beautifully, and they're brown, not black, which is utterly surreal. And they were actually made for the Hollywood star Douglas Fairbanks Jr. Had a few pairs of shoes from his collection, Faulkner's and Maxwell's later. But anyway, that's not what this is about. See, let's look at the welts and the soles on both of these. As you'd imagine, on an opera pump, they're fine. But these are nearly as fine, if not as fine and refined as the opera pumps. But nonetheless, they've still got this glorious sort of sculpted waist, really tight. Classic sort of West End sole. Just, I don't know, there's not enough words really to sort of, look how they're sort of sculpted in, really sort of heavily sculpted, but extremely elegant and just discreet and just refined. Often when shoes are very, very sculpted, they can be almost aggressive and a little bit loud. These are not that. But I don't know. But I'm not going to miss wearing them, because there's no chance of me wearing these, because they're a size 7 or thereabouts. I'll put the proper measurements with the listings. And there's no chance I could ever wear these. I've had them at least 10 years. But they're at least 2.5 sizes too small. And I kind of had this deluded notion that my feet would shrink or these would grow and I'd be able to wear them. But I have done a lot of restoration on these. As you can see, they've not been worn a lot. But what had happened, because they're so old, they're 100 years old, and the original polish, because they've probably not been worn in 75 years, had sort of shrunken. And it had, because they didn't have trees in them, the shoes had all curled up and it had all cracked, and it looked shocking. It looked like the shoes were totally destroyed, but it wasn't. It was the polish, like a thick, crunchy polish. And anyway, I do have another pair that I've been fortunate enough to find, in identical styling by the same maker from the same period, but in my size. I'm just going to quickly show you. They are in awful condition. Well, actually, they're not. They're just like these. The polish is in awful condition. Look at this. This shoe's been partially stripped. I've spent at least an hour removing the polish. It was much thicker and more crunchy, and they've got trees in, Poulsen Skone trees. And they were all wrinkled. You could, because the polish had shrunken and it had crinkled the shoe. Exactly the same had happened to the pair that I'm selling. And you can see they've revived beautifully. There's just a big difference in the sizing. Look, this pair I'll restore, and these will come up exactly the same as those, at least as beautiful as that. And, I'm happy to sell these because I have a direct replacement. But, I think whoever has these, whether they be just a collector for a collector's sake, or whether it's something that they might actually fit, it would be impossible to be disappointed with these. Let me just pull out the tree. Ooh, if we can. I'm struggling not to knock the camera over. There we go. Let's just look inside. See, there's no real damage. They've been worn, but my goodness me, they've been really looked after, and the skins are literally buttery soft. There's very, 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 very minor surface cracking, but they're buttery soft, they're not crunchy. Just a perfect shoe. It's extraordinarily elegant, astonishingly refined. It really would be difficult to find. As I say to you, I've got examples by all the bespoke makers, both current and ones that have been long gone. This company, Poulsen Skone, was started, I think, 1863 by Arthur Skone, and his son Sidney Skone joined the company, and between them they ran the company for 110 years until the death of Sidney in, I think, 72, and that's when New and Lingwood took over the company. They were just, it was just the two of them, a very small outfit, turning out this quality, this sort of output, but they were never a big manufacturer. Their shoes are today, they're quite rare. Most Poulsen Skone you see are sort of post-1972, and they're ready to wear. There's a handful of bespoke pieces out there, made by George Cleverley for Poulsen Skone. But they're a rare maker, and misunderstood, quite honestly, and not appreciated for quite how achingly just beautiful and achingly refined these things are. You compare them with a very refined pair of George Cleverley, and you look at the difference. These are not durable. You wouldn't buy these shoes and go stomping about in them. They can be worn. Yes, they're definitely 100% wearable, but these are not walking shoes. You wouldn't pound the pavements in these. They wouldn't last. The George Cleverley, to a certain degree, you can, obviously you'd get through that sole quite quickly if you wore these heavily. But these are, I don't know. I'll wear my pair when I eventually get around to restoring them, but I won't wear them hard. Yeah, look at that silhouette. Just amazing. Just amazing. But they're for sale on eBay UK at no reserve.